Hello everyone, this is the Lesson 5.01 Intro to Spreadsheets video. I'm going to let you read over this introduction yourself for the sake of time. I'm going to try to move a little bit faster because you can pause the video and read over stuff when you need to. So hopefully maybe this one won't cut me off. Do pay attention to these hyperlinks that tell you about other software you can use in lieu of Microsoft Excel if it's not available to you. However, I do prefer that you try to use it if at all possible, because that's what I'll be doing the demos in. And sometimes the tools and stuff are in different places. Okay, so under Learn, I have enabled Flash Player so I can show you the slideshow. So this first one introduces you to spreadsheets, and it tells you that the spreadsheet application in Microsoft Office is Excel. In OpenOffice, it's called Calc. And we also have Google Sheets, which is available for free if you have a Gmail account. So when Excel starts, it displays an empty workbook with 3 worksheets, each of which are identified on a sheet tab. Okay, so the whole thing when you start a new document is called a workbook. Each individual tab here represents multiple sheets that you can have. A lot of times you'll only use the first sheet. You could go in and delete these sheet tabs if you want to, but it won't hurt anything to have blank sheets. Okay, so in the worksheet, a black border appears around the active cell. Right here is what they're talking about. And if you look in the name box located on the left side of the formula bar, you will see the cell reference. So this is your formula bar. Okay, so when I've got this cell selected right here, it shows you here's the name A2 because it is column A, row 2. So that is our cell reference that they're talking about right there. So when entering words, numbers, or formulas into cells, always press Tab or use the arrow key to move out of the active cell before proceeding. So in this cell that they're showing being active, 55 was typed in. You could type it in on this formula bar or actually in this cell. But to get over here to the next cell or one below it or in a different place, I can use the arrow keys or the tab keys to get to the place I want to. If I don't do that, then it's going to type over 55. Okay, I'm going to skip this. I don't think any of you need this. If you do, please send me an email and I'll be glad to get you the link for that. So to create your first worksheet, you begin by entering the column and row titles. Next, you enter numbers into the cells. So this is our worksheet title, interest schedule. Then each column has a title. So loan number, loan amount, interest rates, those are column titles. Our row titles are right here, 1, 2, and 3. So columns go up and down like this. Rows go across, like horizon, horizontal. Columns are vertical, up and down. Here are some of the advantages of using a spreadsheet. Labor saving from having to calculate large amounts of data by hand, because you can insert formulas, it will do the math for you. Automatic recalculation: when one value in the spreadsheet changes, all the dependent values on the spreadsheet are automatically recalculated. So if I've got a formula set up to add a whole column of numbers and then I go change one of the numbers, it's going to change my total for me as well. I don't have to redo the whole thing. And then there's something called a what-if analysis. This is used to analyze worksheet data to see how changes affect the results. When new data is entered, Excel does not only recalculate all the formulas in the worksheet, but it also redraws any associated charts. So we'll learn more about that too. Okay, a formula is a simple math equation like E4 plus E5. This is just adding whatever information is in cell E4 and E5 together. But why is the equal sign at the beginning of the equation? By first keying an equal sign, you are telling the spreadsheet program that what follows will require a calculation. So they're talking about right here. You always start your formula with the equal sign first. That just tells the computer that it's going to do some math. Okay, functions. These are preset formulas that are included in the application, so they're pre-programmed for you. Many times a function will simplify the formulas that you could otherwise enter manually. For example, you can use the sum function to add the values in a group called a range of cells. The function would be similar to the following: equal sum E4 through E15. So if you were manually entering a formula to perform this calculation, it would look like this. So by doing this, putting this range that says you're starting with E4 and ending with E15, you don't have to type all this stuff in between. Okay, a group of cells is called a range. So right here you can see all these that are selected. That is the range that we talked about earlier, E4 through E15. So it's important to understand the concept of ranges because formulas and functions are applied to ranges. The most common method is to click and drag the mouse pointer across the desired cells. When you release the mouse button, the selected area will be in gray. And when a range of cells is highlighted or selected, that range has a range address, just as an individual cell has a cell address. A range address is the first cell in the selection and the last cell in the selection separated by a colon. So just like this. This is the first cell, A1, and the last cell is A10. And it just covers everything in between those. Okay, so this video is only 4 minutes long, but I don't think I'm going to have time to cover everything else. So we'll come back to this, or either I'll do a separate video or I'll just do my own demo. Okay, I'm going to move on to try it. So it wants you to just practice a little bit. So it wants you to open a blank Microsoft Excel document and do these things. Practice selecting ranges. So you would just click with your mouse and drag from cell B5 through B15. That's how you create a range. And then to deselect the range, you just click off of it. And then non-contiguous, that just means they're not touching each other. They're not joined. These ranges, to do that, I would do the same thing I did up here. I would click in A1, hold my mouse button down and drag through A10. But then I would hold down the control key on my keyboard and move over to C1 and C10. Otherwise, when I click on C1, if I was not holding down control, it would deselect A1 through A10. Okay? Okay, so let's look at this vocabulary. And again, to save some time, instead of us guessing, I'm just going to show the answers for you so you could use this as a flashcard. So a group of cells is a range. Spreadsheet application in Microsoft Office is called Excel. The location of a cell in a worksheet is identified by its column, letter, and row number, also known as a cell address, is also called a cell reference. Okay, it contains the cell pointer, that's the active cell, it's the highlighted cell. An Excel file with one or more worksheets is called a workbook. Spreadsheet application in OpenOffice is called Calc. Simple math equation is a formula. Preset formulas that are included in the application are functions. Formula bar, here's the definition for that. Again, I know I'm rushing through, but you can go back and rewind or pause. Sheet tab, it's the definition of sheet tab. Worksheet. Okay, so I'm just going to let you use that as a flashcard presentation, so just go back and pause it and read over the definitions as you need. Excuse me. Okay, so this slideshow is showing you some practice, so it wants you to click on the Sheet tab for Sheet 2 and click Submit. So these are my Sheet tabs right down here at the bottom. So if I click on the one for Sheet 2, then I can click Submit. Okay, good. So we got that one right. Okay, now I need to click on the active cell in the spreadsheet. So this one that is selected right here. Let me clear this, sorry. Okay, that should be our active cell. Okay, that's right. Okay, I need to click on the name box in the spreadsheet below. So this is our name box. Oh, let me clear it again. Sorry. Only need one of these at a time. Okay, so we got that right. All right, the formula bar. We talked about our formula bar being here before. Right after this FX That is your formula bar. Okay, and what is the cell reference of the active cell? So this is the one that's selected. So you always look at your column first, which is C, and the row number is 4. So I'll just go here and type C4. It also tells you right there. So good. So we got that right. Okay. So that is try it. The task asks you to set up a worksheet for the estimated startup cost of the business that you created in Unit 4. So everything that you did your business letter on, your business description, your forms, that pretend business that you created, we're going to use in this unit as well. So you're going to set up a spreadsheet that lists some costs and estimated amounts for each of those costs. So it gives you some examples like equipment, printing, supplies, advertising, and there's the amount for them. It wants you to include at least 6 costs or expenses and get a total. So here's a sample. So let me click down here to open this. So this is a Word document that gives you the directions for the Excel document. So this just gives you the directions, a sample, and it shows you what it should look like in Excel. So this is just a screenshot of Excel. So you're going to use Excel, not Word. I just don't want you to be confused by the directions. So make sure you look over that. Always click out of that. Okay, and then I also want you to look at the rubric. Make sure you're always checking these rubrics so you know exactly what I'm looking for over here in this column. This is the things I'm going to look for. I'm going to go by this criteria to give you grades for it. Okay, so let's see how much time we have. See if I can go back to this video for you real quick. I'm going to play it until time runs out. If you have any questions, email me.
With 3 worksheets. Each worksheet has a numbered tab, and you can name those tabs by right-clicking. I am currently in cell D4, and here is the cell address in the name box. Beside the name box is the formula bar, and as you key in your worksheet, whatever you key will simultaneously appear in the cell and in the formula bar. And if you need to correct an error, you can always click your formula bar and backspace and correct any errors. The active cell has a black border around it, and while you're working with your spreadsheet, you must record that entry by pressing the tab key and that option is not even available to me because I'm still in an active cell. So if I press the tab key to get out of the active cell and then get back into that cell, then the option is available. So be sure that you always leave an active cell before continuing. 2 to C2. Lower right hand corner, right there. When you place your cursor on that fill handle, it becomes a cross. And we can fill that down, and it changed to row 4. That is just one method of copying data to cells that join. Room for the date. If you would like the title of your spreadsheet centered above the spreadsheet columns, you can block as many columns as you need to cover the spreadsheet and do merge and center. And that will make one cell in center result of that calculation. And remember that all formulas begin with the equal sign. That tells your spreadsheet that what will follow will be home ribbon under the number group. And there's different formats that you will apply to the numbers.
Okay, some of you will notice